This week we're going to look at how we take the altimeter setting from a METAR and turn it into a station or sea level pressure. Welcome to another MatPy Monday. Hello, I'm John Lehman, a software engineer for Unidata. This week we want to look at the altimeter setting that's in many METARs that you'll see. It's not a number as meteorologists that we're used to dealing with, but oftentimes it's all we get from METARs, except at the very large airports. So how do we convert that to a station pressure and a sea level pressure? Luckily, MatPy makes that very easy. So first let's do a couple of imports. This sounds like a calculation, so we expect it to be in matpy.calc, and we're going to import that as mpcalc. From matpy.units, we're going to import the units registry as well. Now we need some data to work with, so we're going to go to the Aviation Weather Center METAR, so aviationweather.gov/METAR. And we can put in maybe Denver and get the most recent METAR. Now, of course, MatPy can parse this for us, but since we're just looking at a calculation that only involves a couple of numbers, we can do that ourselves. We know the altimeter is 30.04 from this group in the METAR right here, and that is going to be in the units inches of mercury. And the altimeter setting is what's dialed into the Colesman window to make the altimeter read the appropriate elevation above sea level of the airfield. Now we need the height of the airport, and I know that Denver has been surveyed at 5,434 feet above sea level. And that's all we need to get station pressure. We can use mpcalc altimeter to station pressure, and if we use Shift-Tab to look at the documentation, we see it takes the altimeter value and the height of the station. Our altimeter value and our height. And we get a result back in inches of mercury, again, not what we're used to looking at as meteorologists. So we can go ahead and convert that to hectopascals. We see it's 833.1 hectopascals. So that's a very low pressure value, but that is the absolute value of atmospheric pressure at the station. We're used to looking at maps of sea level pressure. If we don't correct for the elevation of the station, we make a topography map with pressure, basically. So we need to correct for that, and that takes the station pressure to the sea level pressure. MatPy already has a function built in to do this for us. mpcalc altimeter to sea level pressure. If we look at the documentation, it has the altimeter value, height, and temperature as required fields, because we're dealing with assuming a standard atmosphere here. Altimeter, height, and then the temperature, which we can see from this group here, is 32 degrees Celsius. And then we're going to go ahead and convert the result to hectopascals. And we get 1002.8 hectopascals. Now notice that the actual sea level pressure group, this airport does provide a sea level pressure group, is 1007.1 hectopascals. So we've got a 5 hectopascal difference there, which I find very interesting, because we should be using the same formula. So either the station is doing something differently or we're doing something a little bit differently. To investigate that, we're going to look at another station. Let's pick somewhere, Denver's a great example of a very high station, but let's pick a station that's got a relatively low elevation, say Dallas-Fort Worth. And it's still big enough we're going to get that sea level pressure group though. Change this to a raw cell since we just want text there. And we'll put our altimeter setting at 29.76 inches of mercury. And the surveyed height of Dallas is 606 feet. And now we can just grab our lines from above. And we get a station pressure of 986.18 and a sea level pressure of 1006.78. So basically 1006.8, which is slightly above the reported sea level pressure of 1006.6. So you may be asking why we're doing this if the sea level pressures are reported. Well, if we look at some smaller airports around the country, we're not going to always get a sea level pressure report. So for example, staying in the Dallas area, if I look at KXBP, which is Bridgeport Municipal, we don't get a sea level report. We just get the altimeter is 29.78 inches of mercury. So MetPy has these tools built in, and I'm doing some research to try to find out how the sea level pressure group is actually calculated when it gets reported in the METAR, because we do get slightly different results. And it does have, I'm guessing, something to do with the assumptions that are made based on the standard atmosphere. I hope that you found this useful. We'll see you on next week's MetPy Monday.